They became uncitizens. Aliyah ran the idea over and over in her mind, all down the highway, splitting the bush either side of her like an emerald sea. She thought it in the prophetic sense, to frame it as a future so certain it was as though it had already happened. Her daughter Sakina slept soundly in the passenger seat, dressed in blue like a robin's egg. Aliyah practiced the belief until it became scriptural. They became uncitizens. They got out and away. There would be no roadblock. Some women are difficult to belittle. Aliyah Asfour counted herself among these echelons because she was in the habit of taking herself seriously. Across the years, disaster after disaster had sounded sirens through her life, like a city wailing evacuation. After hearing those blares all alone, at last she had taken heed. She had draped the night around an escape. Now, the steering wheel warmed to her palms. The accelerator sighed under her boot, and her headlights slid into the blackness of a future she concentrated hard on, like an idea she might forget upon waking. She was done with the rabble, really, this time. Her daughter Sakina, and only Sakina, would be an exception to the rule. And the rule, God willing, was that they would be the only two people they needed in order to survive. Aliyah had arrived at the understanding that, beyond reliance on the divine, all forms of dependency were at best a risk, and at worst a waste of her precious time. Her phone trilled in the cup holder. She fumbled in the dark to answer it so as not to disturb Sakina. Her ex-husband burst onto the line with a demand for a location. "Assalamu alaikum, Adam," she said dryly. Adam stuttered and babbled, groping as ever at her receding image from a place more like boy panic than despotism. She pinned her mobile to the shoulder furthest from Sakina. In the days of their marriage, Adam Rifai had been a generous man. That his generosity may have been a byproduct of his versatile and all-encompassing vanity did not discount it, so Aliyah did her best to repay him with a generosity of a kind. He was saying, "You just do what you want. It's not safe." "Why isn't it safe?" she asked, to humour him. "You should be around people in case something happens, people who can look after you." "Like who?" she asked, and thought immediately that it should be like whom, and after that she considered his hypocrisy. He must have caught her old patronising inflection, because he spun in a moment from alarm to vexation. Those quick moods of his had only surfaced in the later years of their marriage, after a disaster so unnatural to his charmed existence. A disaster Aliyah remembered as a little blue shock coming into the world in the same state as it had left. Wrapped in a cloth the size of a tea towel, lowered into a hole as small as a dog might dig for an old pair of shoes.